Good morning. Whew, it's so bright in here. Lovely. Bright because you're all here. Your faces. So speaking of music, when I was a kid, one of my favorite TV shows was American Bandstand. How many people watched American Bandstand? Yeah, I know. It's like so fun. And I would, watch the older kids, the teenagers dancing together. And, and then they go to talk to Dick Clark, and, how do you rate the song? Well, Dick, it's got a good beat. I can dance to it. So it was a lot of fun. And then along came Soul Train and changed the whole picture. I was like, suddenly, whoa, this is something different. My goodness. And here I was, this little white girl trying to, match what they were doing, all these beautiful black individuals dancing. It must have been hysterical. But I never went back to American Bandstand. I was like, Soul Train, that was it. It speaks to your soul. So we're going to talk today about what moves us, what speaks to our soul, soulful living. And it's hard to define, but most people know immediately when, something has soul, when somebody has soul. The way that Alex and Leland played that flute and the maracas. Later we're going to hopefully hear the drums with soul. Some musicians, some artists. You see a piece of art and you go, wow, that's filled with such soul. Or even a place can resonate with soul. And, so we can either be something that really moves us to our core, or soul can also be something sacred, something that touches our heart and our soul. There's so many meanings. I was talking to Leland this morning. And there's so many meanings of the word soul, it's hard to define it. And different cultures have a different experience of it. Some cultures have a little easier time connecting with it than some other cultures. It's just, I don't know what it is. But one of the things that I was thinking also was some of the individuals who have just become members of our community were sharing in the Pathways class that there was a common denominator. A lot of them had grown up going to the Catholic Church, grown up Catholic. And some people were saying how the Catholic Mass of their youth, particularly if it was in Latin, just really moves. It still moves them. Even though they don't really agree with the theology anymore, it's something about that experience. And I was thinking about that. I was like, yeah, it's like crafted to do that. I've just went once or twice with a girlfriend when I was young, and, it was the priest with the garb and the language and the rhythm of it and the music and the incense and the stained glass and the architecture that's designed to take your eye upward towards heaven. It's all sort of designed to give you that experience of the sacred. So it's something that's deeply felt, right? Something that's deeply felt, well considered, something that comes from an authentic place. Very often it comes from a place of pain, right? But usually pain that is mined for its gold. And that shows up in poetry, in songs, and certain pieces of art. And when you read it or you see it, it touches you. It touches your heart and soul. So something well-crafted, considered, something thoughtful, original, unique, something that's not slapped together, quickly. And we know that it's special when we see it because it's so missing in our culture. Everything is so slapped together so quickly. Houses are slapped together so quickly. And so they're all alike. They're all like cookie cutter, all close to each other. It's like they've been poured out of an ice cube tray, They're all the same. Without character, products are slapped together quickly without much character, without much thought. The food, a lot of food, our food is fast food and it's over processed. I heard a report the other day that a majority of Americans eat ultra-processed food. You know, like everything in a package. Music, sometimes, at the risk of sounding like my grandmother. You kids today, the music you're listening to. At the risk of doing that, I mean, a lot of music today sounds the same. It's just like a derivation of whatever's popular, right? And wow, it remains to be seen how AI, generative AI, is going to write screenplays and TV shows, because that's the future. That's what the writers, that's one of the reasons the writers are on strike. Think about it. AI writing screenplay. I mean, my guess is it's going to be without an ounce of soul. That would be my guess. And we'll accept it because that's what we're given. Because we get used to all of it. We get used to the way it is, and we think we don't have a choice. We do. Somebody said we do over there. We do, right? And after a while, after consuming, soulless music and art and entertainment and food and living spaces, we feel empty. So, how many of you have heard of the book Care of the Soul, or read the book Care of the Soul? Oh yeah, popular. Thomas More, his masterwork. Really, he says in that, some businesses cover over their soulless conception of work with a veneer of fake walls, plastic plants, and pseudo-art. If that is what we give to the workplace in the name of beauty, then that is the measure of soulfulness we will have at our jobs. Surrounded by plastic ferns, we will be filled with plastic thoughts. So he's got a sense of humor, but wow, a point, right? Our soul yearns for something authentic, something that someone has poured their love and their soul into, something original and unique. And we yearn to live a life that is authentic, that comes from our heart, that's fueled by our soul, something unique and original. Otherwise, we're just going through the motions. Or we're copying what somebody else has done. Copying what somebody else has done is the antithesis of original and unique. And I think that's a lot of people are crying out to be recognized for the unique person that they are. And we do need to value, individuality and everyone's unique expression of the divine as the gift that it is. Right? So our lives become meaningful and rich when they are infused with soulful energy, when our intention and our everyday activity is infused with soulful energy. In other words, it's infused with our love, our care, our heart, our authenticity. Our lives become meaningful and rich when it's infused, when everything in our lives is infused with spiritual depth, really spiritual depth. And I think that's going to become more and more important as we move into this digital AI future. I think it's going to be really important to anchor ourselves in spiritual depth. Otherwise, we're going to get lost. So we want to cultivate that, right? We want to cultivate that. And it's something we can do, But it's something that we need to do with intention, because it's just too easy in this get it done quickly, world, our busy day, it's too easy to forget that. That's why last week, is it last week? Yeah, I think so, that I was talking about setting aside one day, like a Sabbath day, to just nurture our growing awareness, the growing awareness of our spiritual nature, so that we can give ourselves the space, to feel divine love, to feel that divine love within us, to feel that divine life that sustains us, that makes us whole, that connects us with Source, that connects us with each other, that connects us with everything. And then, from the depth of that experience, we can take it out into our daily lives. We can take it out into our daily activities. And with intention, anything we do, whether it's preparing a meal or washing dishes or driving a car, writing an email or folding laundry, can be infused with soulful, sacred energy. When we put our mind to it, or our heart to it, really, anything can be a sacred act. And by the way, I hope I'm talking to myself here as much as I'm talking to you. I mean, that's always true, in particular in this one. We're all sort of doing this together, spiraling upward in our spiral evolution, right? We're supporting each other in this. Has anybody ever witnessed a traditional Japanese tea ceremony? Have you? Yeah. I haven't participated in one, but I've seen it on YouTube. I mean, it is a sacred act. They don't just throw a tea bag in a mug and then you drink it. Like we do, right? Get it done quick. It's this thing that takes time, and it's so carefully done, and those leaves are so carefully selected, and the water has to be a certain temperature, and then it's brewed at a certain number of minutes, and the cups are laid out in order of the honor of guests, like the elders get it first. It's all pre-warmed, and and then it's usually a woman, dressed in a beautiful traditional, silk outfit, and then she pours it so carefully into these cups, and the guest, carefully takes it and sips it like it's liquid gold, Like at that point it is. Because it's infused with all this sacred energy. The whole thing is designed for this honoring of that divine presence. I mean, they don't say that, but that's what I feel it is honoring that divine, the namaste, the divine presence in your guests. And just everything can be, a sacred act. But that's a really good example. Plato, who, among a few other things, also explored metaphysics and the soul, caring for the soul, and he called caring for the soul the craft of life. The craft of life. So when you think about it, when you think about how can you find the art and the craft in whatever it is that you're doing in ordinary, everyday activity. And I think it can start just by pausing before you dive into something. Just pausing before, take a breath, before we before we dive in. Pause before you dig into your meal. Check out the colors and the textures, and feel gratitude to the earth from which it came, and the person that prepared it for you. The old-fashioned idea of saying grace before a meal, I think, was beautiful because it spiritualizes the whole experience of eating. it might be wise to bring that back. Or we could do it in like a unity fashion. You know? Maybe I'll write a unity version of grace and share it. Would you guys like that? Share it with you? Yeah. It really helped to slow you down and appreciate and experience it as a spiritual experience, which it really can be. Years ago, I watched those Marie Kondo videos. You know, Marie Kondo, The Art of Tidying Up. And she totally rocked my world. She totally changed how I thought about folding clothes, you know? And before, it was just like bundle them up and throw them in the drawer, you know? And then I couldn't find anything, right? Or it would be all wrinkled. But she's like, it's such an art. And then she would smooth it all out before she folded it and asked you to bless it. Bless each piece of clothing. You know, give it thanks for being of service to you that day. Like, wow, that's a spiritual experience. That's a sacred act. And we think about what we can do for our ordinary activities. Some people, you know, they take their cars and they personalize them and they give them character and personality. You know, some people get bumper stickers and a little figure on the dashboard. We used to have a parking angel on the dashboard, and you wind it up and little wings that go like that. When my girls were little, and I swear, every time we were looking for a parking spot, we'd wind it up. And before long, we'd find a parking spot. I'm telling you, it worked. I got to get one of those again. But people have that, and then they've got, you know, the dice or the beads that come down from the, a lot of people have a lot of bumper stickers. You know, you get behind some people with a lot of bumper stickers. You go, well, you know where they stand on all the issues. Right. We humans are funny, aren't we? We are funny, a funny species. I swear, if the aliens are here, if they're observing us, you know, they're probably having a good giggle. Oh, those humans. Look what they do with their cars. Oh, they're so cute. I hope that's what they're doing. I don't know if they're here. So think about your work now. I want you to think about your work in the world. And if you're retired, think about your volunteer work, or maybe it's the work that you do cleaning up the house or whatever. And think about a part of that you feel might be devoid of soul. Something that like, I just got to get through this, but it doesn't feel like it has any life to it, right? Think about an area, and think about how you could infuse more of your love, more of your heart, more of your individuality, your personality to it. You know, or maybe it's just a matter of seeing it differently. You know, do you remember the Khalil Gibran, you know, the poet? He said that work is love made visible. You know, or all work is empty save for when love is there. So we can think about it differently. Sometimes it's just a matter of stepping back and seeing the difference you're making, because, you know, frankly, all work is going to include something that doesn't feel like you really want to do all the time. But if you step back and you think, wow, I'm making a difference, look at the difference that's being made here, then maybe that's a way to connect with it.